One day I was traveling, I was over in Baltimore, and I had gotten to the airport a little bit early. It was about 6 p.m., 6:30, something like that. And I just had finished my day, and I thought I'm going to get there and relax. So I walked in. I had plenty of time, about an 8:30 flight or something like that. And so I went to the local store there, and I got myself a newspaper and a bottle of water. And as I'm standing there at the counter, and I looked down, and it was the ultimate weakness, a package of soft batch cookies. And so I said, oh, I'm going to go ahead and get myself some soft batch cookies. So I got the soft batch cookies, a water, and a newspaper, and checked out. And I'm walking back to sit by my gate, and I sit down, and I had set everything out and go to open up my water, and all of a sudden I heard this crinkling sound. And I looked over, and sure enough, there's what seemed to be a nice older woman, probably in her mid to upper 80s, who was opening up the bag of soft batch cookies. And I thought to myself, that's a little bit gutsy on her part, but I'll go with it. And lo and behold, she reached in and she grabbed one, and I felt a little twinge. I felt a little competitive nature. So I reached into the bag and I grabbed two. And I hurry up and ate them, and I hear a little crinkling as I'm taking the last bite of the second cookie, and there she's in the bag again, and she's grabbing a soft batch cookie. Thinking, you got to be kidding me. Well, this goes on for about a half hour, and she takes a cookie, I take a cookie. She takes a cookie, I take a cookie. And I'm thinking to myself, what in the world is happening here? Why is this lady eating my cookies? Well, I hear her rustling around, and here she pulls out what turns out to be the last cookie, and she breaks it in half. And she sets it down, and she eats half the cookie. I thought, of all the nerve, she's going to split my last soft batch cookie with me. Well, that's just great, This is my dinner. This is all I'm getting today. I've got to go on this long flight and get home. Well, they call our flights, and I had enough miles at that time to where I could fly first class. And I get on the airplane, and I'm sitting in first class, and they come over and they serve me my Diet Coke, and I'm sipping on my Diet Coke, and they called the rest of the plane on. And so as people were filtering on, and as you can imagine, right next to me I had an empty seat. And as people were filtering on, I'm thinking to myself, I just hope this seat stays empty. I was all into myself, really thinking about myself, cautious of how I was feeling. And all of a sudden, here comes the older lady, and she starts boarding the plane. I'm thinking, don't you put her next to me. Oh, don't sit next to me. Well, she didn't sit next to me, but her and I locked eyes, and she just kept walking. And I thought, Well, she goes back to her seat, and they locked the cabin door, and they said, put your seat trays up. So I reached into my briefcase, and I pull out my soft batch cookies. I was reaching in for my newspaper, and there were my soft batch cookies. So as it turns out, I was eating her cookies. And at that moment, I had a paradigm shift. And it was, if you've ever had a paradigm shift where you could just feel it's kind of a coolness comes down the back of your neck, and you think to yourself, boy, I thought I was so right. And I was so convinced that I was doing the right thing, and I never even gave consideration to the other person. All too often in business, that happens, doesn't it? When we start to look at other people, we start to profile them, or we get ourselves into a situation where we think that somebody's thinking one thing or going a different direction. And it takes moments like this to understand that, not everybody's out to get you. That sometimes people are doing something for you, and you don't even have the consideration to understand what's going on around you, that you're so self-absorbed. So what we're learn a lot about in sales training and in management training is this whole idea of being more emotionally intelligent. And being more emotionally intelligent means giving way to other people and thinking about other people first before you think of yourself. It's so that you're not all the time basing yourself on the way you feel, but you're really giving consideration to other people and what their feelings might be and how you might be able to help them. Okay, so in full disclosure, did that really happen to me? The answer is yes. That particular story, no. You might have read that story before on the internet. But the fact of the matter is, that's a true story in any way, shape, or form. That's happened to us in different areas of our lives before. That just happens to be a story that kind of resonates with all of us. You could totally imagine being there. That's why I told the story. So, what's your story? When's the last time you had a paradigm shift?